Hey guys, it's Keegan. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at each of the zodiac signs and exploring the light side and the dark side of their sign, taking a look at what trait I feel most clearly identifies the lightness and the darkness of your zodiac sign. So sit back, hang out with me for a little bit, check out your sign, your friends, your family, see what you think about my opinion of what constitutes the light and dark aspect of your natural zodiac nature. So we're going to start with the sign of Aries. And the trait that I've picked to demonstrate the light side of Aries is their passion. Aries is a very passionate sign, whether this is about a hobby, about their friends, about their family, their career. Passion is what drives the sign, and it's actually one of the most beautiful aspects of the sign of Aries. If an Aries is passionate about something or someone, they are 110% invested in it, and they will do whatever it takes to ensure that that remains stable and healthy. Now, the dark aspect of Aries as a sign is they are quite impulsive. Now, I mentioned that if they feel that something matters to them, they do whatever it takes to ensure that that remains safe and stable. When that safety and stability is threatened, an Aries will become quite impulsive. They will actually make irrational choices. They will fly off the handle. They could become quite angry in certain situations. When confronted with a threat to something that Aries cares about or someone that Aries cares about, they will absolutely fly off the handle without giving much thought to the possible consequences of their actions. So let's take a look at the sign of Taurus. The light aspect of Taurus is their devotion. Taurus is a very loyal, dependable, steady, stable type of sign. If you have a Taurus in your life, you know that they will do whatever it takes to ensure that the things that are important to them, the things that they feel have value, the things that they feel matter, are well cared for. When a Taurus is getting their way, they are very steadfast. They go about their life in a very regimented, systematic way. Now, let's talk about what happens when that sort of life is disrupted. The dark side to Taurus is that they can be quite self-indulgent. Now, again, Taurus is very focused on what they want, what they believe, what they need. And you probably thought that I was going to say stubborn when it comes to Taurus, but really, the stubbornness is just an aspect of what can be viewed more so as a self-indulgent trait. Whether this is buying things that they don't need, being very focused on materialistic items, or being stubborn, a Taurus naturally wants what it wants. They're very focused on believing what they believe, feeling what they feel, wanting what they want, and anything that goes against that is not necessarily something that they want to deal with. Let's take a look at Gemini. So Gemini's light trait is absolutely, without a doubt, their friendliness. Geminis want people to have fun. They want to make friends. They want to get to know people. They're naturally curious. They want to be able to entertain people. They're perfectly comfortable having attention on them. If they're in a room full of strangers, they will do what they need to do to find out interesting information about those people, make them feel welcome, make them feel at ease. The dark aspect of Gemini is a bit of self-obsession. Now, this is not something that they can do much about. Because of the duality of the sign of Gemini and the twins, they have to be a little bit self-obsessed. There's a constant war going on inside of Gemini, a battle between what twin A wants versus what twin B thinks is the best path forward. Because of that natural storm of conflict that exists inside of a Gemini, they're very much focused on themselves. They're focused on their thoughts. They're focused on their feelings. Sometimes they can become so self-obsessed that they don't quite realize how much they're centering things about themselves. If you've ever found yourself in a conversation with a Gemini where you struggle to get a word in, odds are that Gemini is very much at battle with themselves, and their focus is just on them, not you. Moving on to the sign of Cancer, let's talk about the light aspect of Cancer, and that would without a doubt be Cancer's natural ability for empathy. Cancers are absolutely in tune to the world, not only to the people that matter to them, the people that are close to them, but the world in general. Cancers, when they venture out into the world, naturally perceive the energy around them. It is a default setting. It is important that they learn how to master this and not become overwhelmed by it. But it's one of the most beautiful things that I love about the sign of Cancer. They absolutely form empathic connections with people. They are driven to have careers that help people. It is a default setting that I think, with some tweaks and management, actually allows Cancers to blossom and flourish in the world. Now, the dark aspect that goes along with that empathy for Cancers is another default setting, and that is pessimism. Because Cancers are so aware of the energy around them, they are also aware that there is lots of injustice, lots of unfairness in the world. And that awareness tends to shape them into being kind of pessimistic. It's very easy for Cancers to become insecure in their relationships if they sense even the slightest shift. If something goes wrong in a connection that matters to them, they will often retreat and hide out, certain that they have ruined this connection beyond repair. If someone who is a Cancer came to me and asked what sort of shadow work they might need to do, without hesitation, I would tell them to take a look at where they might be pessimistic. Let's take a look at the sign of Leo. Now, the thing that I enjoy and respect about Leos above anything else is their ambition. Leos want to be able to do it all. They want to be masters of everything. They want to be respected. They want to be able to be proud of themselves. They want to show people how capable they are. They are the natural leaders of the Zodiac. The drive and ambition of Leo is almost unmatched in the Zodiac, in my opinion. Now, there is something that goes along with this ambition that represents the dark side of Leo, and that is arrogance. Very often, Leos believe that they can do anything that they want, that in any situation they will be able to fix it, they will be able to figure it out. Sometimes their confidence does venture into arrogance, and it can be something that can absolutely hold them back. When a Leo confronts a situation where they are not naturally gifted, where they have to struggle, where people do better than they do in certain situations, it can cause them to give up. It can cause them to quit things that they could actually be very good at. It can make them leave relationships, leave connections if they don't feel that they are in the place of power. Let's talk about Virgo. Virgos, you guys are some of the most patient creatures I have ever encountered. You will work and work and work and put in the effort to try to make sure that you are doing things correctly, to make sure that you are doing things well, to make sure that in the end, people will look at your efforts, look at what you've accomplished, and label you as being successful, label you as being good. It's something that I really do respect about your sign. You guys don't give up very easily. You'll do what you need to do in order to learn more, to be better. You're naturally driven to try to push yourself to do better and succeed more and more. And because of that, you have the tenacity, you have patience to really stick things through, even when they get hard. Now, the dark side for Virgo, unfortunately, is that there is a lot of judgmental behavior that happens here. Usually that judgmental nature is turned inward. Most often Virgos are self-critical more so than being critical of others, but that judgmental nature is there. It can lead to situations where people who are close to Virgos feel judged, and it might not even be something that the Virgo intends to do. But seeing how self-critical, seeing how judgmental the Virgo is in their own life can make the people around them feel like that judgment might be directed towards them as well. It's something that Virgos need to be very aware of, is how much they are being critical of themselves, how much they're being critical of other people's choices, how much they're judging things in general. It's something that really does get in the way for this sign. So Libra, you guys are up next, and without a doubt, the best, lightest aspect of your sign is your kindness. Libras want people to feel happy. Libras want people to feel welcome. Libras are the peacemakers. They want things to feel balanced and fair. It is a natural inclination for the sign of Libra to be kind. What's interesting about Libra in terms of the expression of their darker aspect is that Libra can come across as being quite ambivalent. Because of that natural inclination to want things to feel balanced and fair, making decisions or sticking to something, making a commitment can be quite challenging for Libra. They're always looking at those scales and balancing things out between weighing pros and cons and getting that list to be perfectly balanced. Libras can very often come across as not being committed, not really caring, not really having any specific direction in which they wish to go. This can be very confusing if you're dealing with a Libra, because while they are very kind and friendly, getting to know what they really want, what really drives them, where they're hoping to be in 5 years can be quite a challenge, because the truth of the matter is they're not really sure themselves. Scorpio, you guys are up next. And as a Scorpio, I can say with certainty, the light side of our sign, and the thing that I think most exemplifies Scorpio's light nature, is that we are extremely loyal. If a Scorpio decides that you matter to them, if a Scorpio decides to let you into their life, if a Scorpio decides to open up to you, they will forever think of you as being important to them. Even in situations where something is damaged with a Scorpio to the point that you aren't communicating, you don't have contact with them, you're still going to matter in that Scorpio's life, because Scorpios do not naturally allow themselves to bond with other people. They're very mysterious. They're loners by nature. They like to keep people out. They like to keep themselves inside a mysterious little cage where people don't have a lot of insight to what's going on up here. If a Scorpio ever lets you in, you're in for good, even if they decide that you might be a little bit too dramatic for them to have in their everyday existence. Which brings me to the dark side of Scorpio. Scorpios are very unforgiving. In situations where something has gone wrong in a relationship, a friendship, other connection, if a Scorpio feels like they were wronged, if a Scorpio feels like they were devalued, if a Scorpio feels like too much happened in that situation for it to really be something they're comfortable with, they're probably just going to disappear. Scorpios are very unforgiving when they feel like they've been crossed. Now, the good thing is it takes a lot to get to that point with a Scorpio. It really does. Scorpios understand that people make mistakes. They are naturally drawn to trying to understand the dark side of people. They look at people's flaws as just being more information about the person. So it's hard to get a Scorpio to really never talk to you again. But if they feel that that's the option they need to take, that's the option that they take, and they tend to not back down from it. Sagittarius. I can tell you 100% the thing that I love the most about Sagittarius, and the thing that I think most of the other zodiac signs really respect about you guys, is that you are adventurous. If there's fun to be had, a new restaurant to explore, a party to go to, Sagittarius is always going to be down and excited for it. It is actually kind of amazing, the capacity that Sagittarius has to just kind of throw caution to the wind and go out and have fun, to seek out adventures and to build their life on that stability of chasing the next fun thing. Now, because of that drive towards being fun, Sagittarius can also come across as being quite tactless. They're going to say what they want to say, just like they're going to do what they want to do. And sometimes their delivery needs a little bit of work. If you've ever had a Sagittarius just look at you and say exactly what they're thinking, you know what I mean. There's no filter. There's no filter that exists between the brain and the mouth of a Sagittarius. Whatever is going on inside of them, they're going to let you know. Now, this can cause a lot of problems for them in their relationships, but I will tell you, if you are someone who has a Sagittarius that's close to you, if you can get past their delivery and realize that most of the time they're just going to be really honest and direct with you, this tactlessness is not necessarily something that's truly a dark aspect of the sign. Because Sagittarius as a sign is so naturally aligned towards fun, the tactlessness is one of the areas where they really stumble. They don't know how to filter what it is that they think or what it is that they feel. They just want to be able to be blunt, get it out, deal with it, and get it out of the way. They're not going to tiptoe around anything. So Capricorns, for sure, the thing that I think is the best, highest expression of your sign is that you are hardworking. And that natural inclination to put in more effort than is required, to work longer hours than you need to really prove yourself as being someone who's dependable and capable, someone that you can turn to when you really need assistance. This is what makes Capricorn really well respected in the world. That hardworking nature extends beyond the professional career as well. Capricorns are people who will put in a lot of effort in their friendships and their connections with their family. Now, sometimes this might not seem the case to the people in a Capricorn's life, because Capricorns will by nature place their professional endeavors above their personal connections. Now, once a Capricorn feels like they've hit a certain place in their career, that will start to shift, and they will start to look at people who they want to share the life that they've created. But if you're dealing with a Capricorn who hasn't yet established themselves in the way that they want, just know that hardworking nature is more than likely going to create a workaholic. I went back and forth about Capricorn. My rising sign is Capricorn, so I do have a connection with you guys, and I kind of struggled a little bit in making a decision about how I wanted to express the dark side of Capricorn. I decided I would go with controlling. I think that that is a good umbrella under which everything else can fall into. Now, I mentioned the tendency to be a workaholic. I mentioned the tendency to place professional things over personal connections. But I think in general, the place where Capricorn tends to get a little bit in trouble is their desire to have control over all aspects of their life. Now, when a Capricorn applies this in a professional setting, very often it works well for them. But when they try to take that out of the professional setting and into their personal connections, this is where a lot of problems can arise. Capricorns have to learn how to dial back the control, dial back that alpha nature when they're dealing with other people. They can't have control all the time. They have to figure out how to compromise, even when in their opinion, that compromise is not necessarily the wisest or the best way forward. When a Capricorn realizes that the things that have worked for them in their career don't necessarily lead to success in interpersonal relationships, that's when they can really start to make a big difference in the quality of the connections that they have with other people. So Aquarius, above all else, the thing that I appreciate about you guys the most, the thing that I think is the lightest expression of your sign, is your originality. If you know an Aquarius, I'm pretty sure that they are like no one else in your life, unless you're surrounded by lots of other Aquarius people. This sign 100% marches to the beat of their own drummer, and they are focused on trying to shape the world to look the way that they want the world to look. Very often things like humanitarianism are listed as the thing that makes Aquarius special, and that is something that I also appreciate about the sign. But I think above that is this natural ability to just be who you are, to accept people for who they are, to want to see as much diversity and acceptance in the world as possible. And that really does come from a place internally of just wanting to express your own unique individual self. Originality, without a doubt, for Aquarius is a strength that if they can utilize in all aspects of their life will serve them well. Now, if you've ever tried to get close to an Aquarius, you know that this can be quite a challenge. As I mentioned, Aquarius is very focused on the world, the change that they want to see in the world. They're very focused on living their life the way that they want, being able to express themselves in the world the way that they want. Because of that, it can seem that they are not very interested in having close connections, whether that is friendship, whether that's romance, whether it's just an Aquarius that you work with and you're trying to have like an office buddy. It's hard to get to know them. That basically is because Aquarius wants to put as much of their energy as they can into creating change in the world. They will do that at the expense of having close connections and people that they can count on and turn to and depend on in their own life. What I will say to you is that if you find yourself struggling to get close to an Aquarius, don't give up. There will come a time when they realize that they need support, and it's usually when they realize that their energy is being depleted and they're not able to focus on the things that really matter to them. And at that point, they will take a look and evaluate the people around them. And if you've been someone who's been there, if you've been someone who's consistent, odds are they're going to turn to you. So let's talk about the last sign here, Pisces. Pisces, I think the thing that is the lightest about you is your compassion. Pisces to me is just a bundle of emotion and feeling. I think out of the water signs, Pisces is probably the wateriest in my opinion. You guys feel things so intensely, sometimes to the point that you can't quite really pinpoint what it is that you're feeling. You're just overwhelmed by it, swimming in a little pool of emotion. Compassion is something that allows you to connect to people, to understand people, to form connections that matter. It's something that allows you to really come across as being loving and caring, someone who wants to understand, someone who's willing to listen. I think that compassion is something that serves Pisces very, very well. Now, as I mentioned, sometimes that compassion can overwhelm a Pisces, and that leads to the dark aspect of their sign, which is escapism. Very often Pisces will escape. They will go to a different reality. They will put their head in the clouds. They'll put their head in the sand. They'll do whatever they need to do just to try to catch a break from feeling all the time and the emotional aspect of their sign being a little bit overwhelming. This can cause a little bit of confusion if you're dealing with a Pisces, because they can suddenly go from feeling so connected, so invested, so 100% aligned to you and your feelings, understanding perfectly, to suddenly they've disappeared, they've run off, they are not paying attention to you at all anymore. If this happens though, just know that they will naturally default back to that compassionate setting once they've managed to have enough of a break. Pisces though, escaping is not necessarily the best path forward. You need to be able to deal with your feelings in a healthier way. Running from them, trying to escape them, trying to deny them, trying to turn them off, it's never going to work. That compassion is always going to overwhelm it. So there you go. We have made our way through the entire zodiac, starting with Aries, working our way through to Pisces. What did you think? Did you agree or disagree with me about how I decided to look at the light and dark aspects of your sign? Did I get you correct? Did I get your friend? Let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. If there's anyone in your life that you think absolutely needs to hear this video, someone who might get a laugh out of it, please feel free to share the video. Give the video a thumbs up. That just helps to boost it so other people can find the video and appreciate it. I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to subscribe. That will allow you to know when I post new videos. And also, feel free to follow me on any of the social networks. You can find me on all of them at Keaghan Tarot.